hold an event called the Alojo Festival, and during this event, one of the most important monarchs in southwestern Nigeria takes part in the festivities. This monarch is the Oni of Ife, who is the traditional ruler of the ancient city of Ile-Ife, where the Alojo Festival takes place. Ile-Ife is believed to be the spiritual center of the Yoruba people, and as the ceremonial ruler of the city, the Oni is one of the spiritual heads of the Yoruba. The Oni is an important figure in the worldwide Yoruba religion and is seen by many as its figurehead. He is a centerpiece of the Alojo Festival, where he has to seclude himself and pray for several days before eventually leaving his palace with many priests to attend the shrines of traditional Yoruba gods. The festival is very important because the supreme god of the Yoruba religion, Oludumare, is believed to have blessed it, and the event unites the Yoruba people. While festivals such as these are popular and attended by many, the Yoruba religion itself is very misunderstood by many within the country. Today, most Yorubas are either Christian or Muslim, and some look at the Yoruba religion with suspicion and disgust. We see attacks on the shrines of traditional worshippers, and many view priests as partaking in dark magic or voodoo. This negative perception of the Yoruba religion mainly stems from the demonization of native practices by colonial officials. Prior to colonialism, the people of southwestern Nigeria, known as the Yoruba, worshipped their religion throughout their land. A common misconception about the Yoruba religion is that the people worshipped a pantheon of gods, but in 18th century Yoruba land, this wasn't the case. Different towns would worship their own gods, which the Yoruba called Orishas, and the Orisha a town would worship would vary depending on where they were. A town in the eastern part of Yoruba land would have a completely separate Orisha from a town in the western part. For example, the Yoruba Orisha known as Shango is known by many now, but in the 18th century, the god was one primarily worshipped in the west and would be unknown to many Yorubas in the east. Orisha worship in pre-colonial Yoruba land was more like a spectrum of different town deities that varied as you went from east to west, rather than being a single Yoruba religion with a pantheon of gods. Though that doesn't mean there weren't uniting features that would draw together the different Yoruba worshippers. Most Yoruba worshippers believed in a supreme being above every Orisha. This god was and is still known by many names, such as Oloru or Oludumare. What makes this god special is that nature and the physical world are seen as manifestations of Oludumare, because every being has Ashe. Ashe is the essence of Oludumare and the inherent force in all creation. When Yoruba worshippers revere a statue or some sort of religious figure, it's not the material they worship, but rather it's the Ashe, which connects all beings and nature to Oludumare. All beings from human to animal are seen by the Yoruba as part of Oludumare's creation and should live a well-balanced life. Oludumare is a central part of the Yoruba religion and fundamental to any Aborisha, otherwise known as a Yoruba devotee. Despite Oludumare's importance, it's believed that human beings cannot directly communicate with the supreme god. This is one role performed by their Orishas instead. Through faith, prayer, divination, and much more, humans can ask for divine intervention from Orishas. Orishas will directly communicate with Oludumare as messengers for worshippers, and will also assist worshippers in the development of themselves. An Orisha is meant to help worshippers reach Iwakbele, otherwise known as balanced character or attitude. Balanced character is the goal of every Yoruba worshipper, and will help them reach the enlightenment that they seek to achieve through their religion. There is believed to be over 400 different Orishas, and while they varied in pre-colonial Yoruba land, in today's world most can agree on 7 major Orishas. These are Obatala, Eshu, Yemoja, Oshun, Ogun, Shango, and Oya. Orishas will have their own shrines and priests where worship can be conducted. They are also a significant part of the creation stories told by the Yoruba people. Prior to the creation of human life, their Orishas lived in the sky with Oludumare until one of the major Orishas known as Obatala asked the supreme god if he can create dry land. Obatala was given permission and climbed down from the heavens from a chain. Once he reached the bottom, he pulled out a bag full of sand, a palm nut, and a hen. Obatala poured the sand out and the hen kicked the sand around so it could spread and create the land, the hills, and even the valleys. Then Obatala planted the palm nut, which would grow into a tree that would spread and create even more. From these palm trees, Obatala created wine to drink, and in a drunken stupor, he decided to create living beings out of clay, which the supreme god Oludumare gave life to. Yoruba religion doesn't just center on the Orishas though. Their religion took on new dimensions with the birth of Orunmila. Due to a lack of historical records kept by the Yoruba people, there is no documentation of Orunmila beyond oral stories, but he is known to have been special from birth. Orunmila is an ancient Yoruba prophet that isn't the creator of the Yoruba religion, but rather the individual that transfer divine knowledge to the people and spread it throughout the land. His teachings were meant to provide a way for people to reach alignment, which can be described as divine oneness or enlightenment. You can reach such a state through important concepts such as the Ori, which is the consciousness of every human being and is believed to be located in the head. The Ori is divided into two parts, the Ori Inu, which is similar to a soul, and the Ikponri, which is described as a heavenly consciousness. By uniting these two, someone can achieve the divine oneness that Orunmila spoke of. This can only be achieved through a long spiritual journey in the Yoruba religion, where you live a moral, well-balanced life through studying Orunmila's teachings. He also taught a belief known as Ayanmo, which is a person's destiny, and believed that the way to reach one's destiny is through practice of Ifa and adherence to the moral ethics of ancestors. He spoke about divine forces called Ajagun and evil forces known as Ajogun. Orishas can be seen as Ajogun and demonic beings are considered Ajogun, and according to Orunmila, the Orishas are meant to protect people from the demonic forces of Ajogun. Orunmila would eventually ascend into a deity or heavenly status in the city of Ile-Ife and would leave behind his teachings for many to learn about. His teachings were recorded orally, but are now written into a document called the Ifa Corpus. The book is made up of 16 different odus, which are revelations of 16 ancient elders who were sent to earth by the heavens to reveal their teachings to Orunmila. Each odu is the epitome of Yoruba wisdom and proverbs. They're full of moral teachings and are said to have over 1,000 verses each. Orunmila was able to reach the height of enlightenment from the odus and reveal their holy messages to people. Beyond the 16 odus, there are 240 minor odu that are also meant to be used in pursuit of a better self. Orunmila spread knowledge of the Yoruba divination system known as Ifa. Ifa is at the center of Yoruba philosophy and worship, and Ifa priests known as Babawolo or Iyawolo are experts in divinations. Ifa is used to help worshippers with overcoming opposing forces such as Ajogun and achieve their own betterment. Ifa priests use a variety of tools for their divinations that vary depending on your skill. The divination system is too complicated for a single video, but a simple explanation is that a priest can use a tool such as a okpon or a divination tray along with kola nuts to read the casting. The casting tells them which odu is relevant for the situation and interpret that odu to gain insights into the problems of the person seeking help. After that, a priest can decide to prepare an offering or ebo to whatever orisha is relevant to the situation so they can provide divine intervention. Many mistaken this for dark sorcery because of the negative connotations of offerings. But an offering could be as simple as cooking food or carving a statue. One must not think that offerings will make everything right in the world, but rather think of offerings as creating the opportunity for positive change because a relationship with an orisha is reciprocal. Ancestors are another major part of Yoruba religion because they provide ethics for Yoruba worshippers. The wisdom of ancestors is essential to living a good life and right behavior. Ancestors are the ones who determine what is moral and right in life, and an adherent to the religion should study and follow their wisdom. Ancestors who are revered are people who have distinguished themselves in life, and so they are given much respect as role models. Ancestors aren't worshipped in the same way Oludumare is though. They are meant to be honored and respected through festivals, but not treated as gods. Reincarnation of ancestors is also a major facet of Yoruba religion. While Yoruba people believe in their own form of heaven and hell called Orun Rere and Orun Akpadi respectively, they also believe in the returning of ancestral souls. Reincarnation is seen as something desired, and one should aim to live a good life so they can return from heaven to earth. Yoruba names such as Babatunde and Yetunde mean father returns and mother returns respectively, and they were historically given to children who they believed were the reincarnated versions of their namesakes. The Yoruba religion is a complicated topic, and this video doesn't even scratch the surface of it. One thing that one must understand though is that the Yoruba religion must not be mistaken with some sort of dark satanic religion. Prayer and worship in the religion is meant to be for the betterment of a person in life. Sorcery does the opposite of that. The idea that traditional religion is satanic or evil has its roots in colonialism. No one is saying to believe in the religion, but many must stop outright rejecting it. Europeans don't reject the religion of their ancestors. Rather, they're a source of interest for many. Indigenous religion are remnants of African culture that must be preserved rather than scorned. To truly move past the legacy of colonialism, Africans must break away from the colonial mindset that seeks to demonize their own culture.